Hey everybody, welcome back to Around the Water Bowl. I am Rebecca with Chasing Tails Dog Training. Happy summer! We are in the summertime. We need to remember with our dogs that a calm living room is not the same as a calm outside. Get what I mean? Sitting at home in your living room, there's far less distractions than going outside in the world where there's other dogs, there's cars, there's cats, there's squirrels, there's rabbits. All of those things are going to impact how your dog responds. A lot of dogs get triggered by a lot of different things. So summer, we really want to think about the safety of our pets and when and where to take our dogs. So first and foremost, we want to think heat safety. Dogs don't wear shoes, and their paws cannot take the heat that the soles of our shoes can take. So we want to make sure that we are not burning up their feet. You can use little dog booties, that's perfectly fine, but we still want to make sure that those aren't getting too hot either. So one of the things that I like to do is when we're going out, I'm going to go and find asphalt, not necessarily concrete. I'm going to look for asphalt just in case we're on asphalt, and put my hand down, and I want to be able to calmly count to 10, so not like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. If I cannot comfortably keep my hand there for 10 to a count of 10, we're not going for a walk. Or if we have to get out, we're going to look for grassy areas or areas that we're not going to end up on pavement, because the last thing I want to do is burn my doggy's feet. That just sounds like a lot less fun than a fun summer could be. We can definitely look at taking them out earlier in the morning or later in the evenings. I personally am an evening person, so there's nothing wrong with that. We do want to keep an eye out for any signs of overheating, so excessive panting, if they're just wanting to stop and lay down, their body feels hot. If you think there's signs of heat stroke, you need to get to a vet immediately. Do not try to throw ice on them or feed them ice cubes. That's not going to help. Get them to a vet, get them in a cooler area, get them into shade, things like that. For the most part, when you're out and about, try to keep to shaded areas and always make sure that you have water on you. Those are the things that we can do best to protect our dog. Remember, if it's too hot for you, it's too hot for them. So summertime also comes with all kinds of opportunities to be outdoors. There's farmers markets, there's bands that are playing outside, there's all these different outings that we can go to, but we need to remember that not every dog is ready for those. Look for signs of readiness. Is your dog getting nervous? Is your dog showing signs of stress? Do they have tight mouth, ears back, lowered body, tail down? Things like that. That's all going to tell you that your dog is not happy to be here and it's just overwhelming them. Again, if we think about last month with my bug analogy, you can't just throw them into a situation and expect them to be okay with it. It's called flooding. I am not a fan of flooding. Instead, let's gradually build up. So if you really want to take your dog to the farmer's market over the summer, start at a distance. And the first weekend, you might not be able to get into the whole area with your dog, but they can observe, see the chaos that can be people mingling around and buying stuff and laughing with one another. And then the next time you can get a little bit closer until by the end of the summer, they'll probably be okay going. The most important thing is we just need to build those outings up slowly. I love to go and take my dog to go hang out at a brewery with me, or go and grab coffee with a friend where we can sit on the patio and my dog can hang out with me. But I'm not going to bring my dog if they're not comfortable and trained, because if your dog is just being chaotic, that's not going to be fun for anybody and people are going to be judgy. It's a whole thing. Think of it, if you really want to do like a brewery or a coffee shop, walk your dog near that area. See how they react. Are they able to maintain that calm behavior for a minute or two? Start with that. If you have to work your way up, that's okay. Some dogs are like, yes, this is the best thing ever. I'm just gonna sit here and people are gonna love on me and I'm gonna get the loves and I just sit here and it all comes to me. Some dogs are like, oh my God, I have to go and meet all of the people. That's not fun for everybody. Remember that these outings are supposed to be fun for you and your dog. Or maybe just for you and your doggy gets to stay at home and that's okay. Let's talk about some leash skills. Whenever we're working on leash skills, I know for a lot of people the leash is like, you know, around the block, or you can't have your routine of where you go. Remember that if you go somewhere new, it's a whole different ball game and your dog might not translate the same skills. So just remember, any distraction is going to change their behavior. So just keep reinforcing what you're doing. And honestly, instead of having your same routine, try going multiple different places. Your dog gets to see new things, experience new things, and it helps them generalize that no matter where we are, these are the behaviors that are expected of me. You really want to make sure that, especially if you're in a new environment, make sure you reward them every time they look at you, every time they do that little watch. Let them know that you appreciate their focus being on you. Because if their focus is on you, they are less worried about everything else that is going on. And worst comes to worst, you use distance. If you really want to do something with them and they're overwhelmed or just too excited, too energetic, start from a distance. Slowly work your way closer to what you want, because eventually if you're slow and patient, you'll be able to go do those things with your dog. But we can't just expect them to know how to behave if they've never done it before. Go slow, use distance. It's okay, I promise. We can also look like if we're going out to parks or going hiking or something like that. If your dog is not 99.9% off-leash reliable, and I say 99.9% because I think every dog has its derp, and every dog will, if it gets the opportunity to run and we don't call them off of it, there's a good chance they will. Which is why when I'm walking Toby off leash, like I'm constantly looking for things that might trigger him so I can call him off of it before he even sees it. But if your dog is not at that 99.9%, use a long lead. Like, you don't have to use your 6-foot lead. I would advise against retractable leashes just because they can snap easily. I've seen them cause burns. I've seen them even break bones. They're really awkward and clunky, and sometimes they get stuck when you're trying to do the recoil on them. So instead, using a long, like, nylon lead can be a lot easier and more reliable. And then no matter where we're walking or what we're doing, remember that asking your dog to come to you and recall, that's not just obedience, that is a safety skill. If your dog doesn't know how to come to you, they have absolutely no reason to be off leash or even on a long lead. Because if they're on a long lead and they're not coming to you when you're asking them to, they have more leverage to yank that leash out of your hands, or if you're really holding on tight, to pull you down with them. So really be sure that you're working on your recall, indoors, outdoors, at different distances. Recall is one of the most important and most important safety things that you can teach your dog, but it is also one of the most difficult because they're out doing their thing. Why would they want to come to you? They're like, I'm looking at the thing and checking out the P-mail. So just be sure that you're practicing it as often as possible, because then it's going to help you in the real world when a distraction is there. They know that coming to you is always good things. And then always be sure that you're taking breaks, watching for those overheatings, and bring water, not just for you, but for your pup too. There's collapsible water bowls that you can clip on your hip. There's the water bottle that has little flippy down things so that they can drink out of it. There's so many options now. Like, people have really taken the extra mile to make sure that we're accommodating our furry friends. So when it comes to reactivity, because it's summer and everybody's gonna have their dogs out and there's gonna be kids playing and everything else, one of the most important things that you can practice is the look away game. So essentially what that is your dog looking at something that's going to trigger it and then coming back to you. So look at the trigger, look away from it. They can look at and acknowledge that the trigger is there, but then they come back to you to see, how do you want me to respond to this? And this is something that I work on in private sessions a lot, where it's really building up that, how am I supposed to react? And then, we work on, based on the dog's behavior, what do we want them to do? Most importantly, remember to always advocate for your dog. If you have a reactive dog, it's okay for them to not say hello to every dog. Advocate for them. Say, no, we're not okay saying hi, sorry. If you're really non-confrontational, you can tell them, you know what, he's been kind of sick, I wouldn't want your dog to get something. There are leash sleeves that you can purchase off of Amazon for like $5 or $10. They're gonna be yellow, and they say something along the lines of like, anxious, please don't pet, or please give me space. That yellow is just letting anybody know, like, don't approach this dog. They're a little fearful, could be reactive. It's a great way for people to see it at a distance, so they're not even approaching you to see if they can come pet your dog. They can see that yellow and go, nope. And also remember that if you know that you're gonna have a reactive dog, create space for them. Like if you know your dog's gonna be reactive to another dog, when you see another dog, create space. Go the opposite direction or go out to the side so that that dog can pass. And things like that to make sure that your dog feels safe and comfortable and not feeling like it needs to react or needs to protect itself or you. Space is one of the best things that you can use for a fearful dog. Ultimately, skills just need to be practiced where they're actually used. Look for opportunities throughout your day that you can add a little 10-minute session here and there. It doesn't have to be long. Training is not about perfection. It's about communication, predictability, and safety. Until next time, you guys have a great summer.